Coming to you from that once-forgotten artery that pulses through the center of the continental United States and into the heart of the Ozarks, Grace Matthews. Looking in from the northern border, our Canadian friend, along with his countrymen feeling the effects of U.S. political issues, Connor Murphy.
Welcome to Dueling Dialogues, episode 164. I'm Connor Murphy, here with Grace Matthews in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, Grace. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Yeah. We've had some bad weather lately, and it's prevented us from doing some recording. So
It has.
I think we got lots to talk about. We
have a lot to talk about. First of all, I'd like to talk about my supernatural experience again with Alexa.
Okay.
Remember I said I was praying and Alexa said, I'm listening.
Right.
And so it's kind of up in air. Is God talking through Alexa, or does Alexa listen to prayers? Is Alexa God? Who knows? Well, I had some feedback in my email, and some people that are much smarter than me said you got to remember that Alexa is AI, artificial intelligence, and she learns. Now, all that did for me is remind me of the remember back in the 60s they would have those sci-fi shows and the computer like Harvey was going to take over everything.
Yeah.
And he filled the whole floor of a building, and you know, back then the computers were really giant.
Right.
You know, so Alexa is growing. She's taking all the information. Is she separate piece of artificial intelligence in everybody's home, or is she an accumulation?
Oh, good question. I don't know. That's a very good question, actually.
Yeah, and would God go through her instead of the Pope? I mean, I'm not Catholic, but I'm wondering about this Pope today.
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
The Pope said that. Now you got to think about who this is. I'm not questioning whether this is right or wrong, but I'm questioning a Pope that says that Jesus didn't get it right on the cross. Okay?
Yeah.
He said that, and he also said those who build walls will end up being prisoners. He needs to start talking to Alexa.
Well, the Vatican's got some pretty darn big walls.
Holy cow, whose side is he on?
And most of them probably should be in prison. So
I tell you what, if I was Catholic, I would be really worried about this. I mean, he should, oh my God, would you question Jesus as a Catholic?
You know, a lot of, soothsayers or psychics out there say that he's going to be the last pope. So, you know,
I'm starting to
may
wonder
happen.
if the last pope wasn't really the last pope, and this is an imposter.
Yeah, who knows? I did hear an interesting story that if you put like Google Home machine next to Alexa and get them talking between the two of them, they actually end up making their own language very quickly. Isn't that disturbing?
That is very disturbing. I know that the Hammer came in the other day and he said, "So, what do you want?" I think it was. And Alexa just speaks up. She goes, "I want a cheesesteak and fries." That wasn't even an option. You know? We don't eat red meat here. Everybody else.
Wow. But, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we're both just staring at each other going, cheesesteak? I don't know. But, I don't know. It's fun. But I'll tell you what's not fun anymore is this damn Mueller report.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Well, we got the Barr Report, you know, like last weekend, wasn't it? Or was that 2 weekends ago? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're wearing me out, okay? You know, I'm like, way cool. The country can move on. I mean, I kind of know that the Dems are going to find something else.
Right.
But could it please just not be Russian collusion? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, or back to firing Comey and obstruction of justice. Could it please just be something new?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. We have to stick with this. And we have to say that Attorney General Barr is corrupt because he was handpicked by Trump. Well, every attorney general ever has been picked by the president.
Right.
Now, are we really going to start that?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. Like, when he called the emergency, it was such a emergency. And every other president has called way more emergencies than he
they
did.
really have. They really have. It's like, it doesn't matter what he does.
Right.
And they just, okay, I don't live on the coastline. That's what we hope our listeners like about us. Okay? We don't live on the coastline. I mean, do they have any idea how stupid some of the shit they are saying is?
Yeah, it makes me wonder, though, because I live on the coast. So.
Oh, well, that's not one of the others. That's true. That's true. But you're up there in Canada. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, we have our own problems.
DC, New York, LA, well, just basically all of California. Okay?
Yeah.
But the things that they are bringing up, now they have this little petty deal. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not petty, but apparently Fox News found out information and I don't know, to do with the Mueller report, and now they want to censor Fox News. Congress. They want the right to go over their editorials.
Whoa.
Now listen to me. If they were to be able to be allowed to do that, we would be giving up everything in this country. For them to even mention it and believe they will be reelected, it will be the people in their district's fault.
Wow, that's shocking.
If you reelect anybody that wants a news service to come to them before they air something, then it's your fault.
If they would have said that in the 50s, they would have been charged with communism.
Oh my gosh! I don't know. We need to impeach some congressmen.
Yeah, that is really ridiculous to think. Well, I mean, Trudeau here just gave $600 million to the media, and he is censoring Facebook. So we're already under that.
That's true.
If you want to start looking like...
have the same First Amendment as we do.
Yeah, so if you want to start looking like Canada and having Canadian problems, then you'd vote Democrat. Exactly.
But the Mueller report will be ready, and it will be redacted as appropriate by law. That's why we have the grand jury, because it is a secret proceeding. It is not made public because the grand jury gets to decide if there's enough evidence. It's not damn Google. You don't put everything out there about a person and then advertise it.
Right.
And those are closed hearings. They open up if the grand jury decides to indict somebody. It's very simple.
Exactly.
Okay, now, you those things have to be redacted. If you are not filing charges on somebody, period, you need to redact evidence that you obtained from them that wasn't really evidence because they didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. Invasion of
So
privacy.
you need to make it like it didn't happen.
Yeah, against their rights.
Exactly. Now, also, we have secrets.
Okay,
on how we obtain information. Alexa's not the only one.
Right.
She's smart. She didn't write it down. But these guys do write it down. It has to be redacted. If you're not happy with that, then you're just simply not happy with the United States government.
Exactly.
And you can wait 2 weeks. There is nothing that suggests that we need to see that full report today. It is more important that the people that are not guilty be protected. And I believe wholeheartedly in that.
Yeah, well, I think the Dems are planning on using it as their playbook to attack Trump. So
Well, and what it's
that's why they want it now.
Yeah, it's becoming their playbook to hand him the 2020 election.
Pretty much so, yeah. They are playing right into his hands.
Oh my gosh, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
I have another theory on that too, and I believe that there is evidence in there of Obama and Clinton and their obstruction or abuse of power. So I'm thinking that the Republicans know this, and they're wanting the Democrats to scream and claw and want actually something, to see the Mueller report in full.
I think you're exactly right. And if that isn't in there, I think we have to question Mueller's report.
Yeah, and I believe it is in
Mueller
there.
is not any friend of Trump's, and neither were any of the attorneys he put on that case.
Right.
On the special counsel. They pretty much all hated Trump. And they wanted to find stuff to take him down. Right.
So I think
now the reverse definitely we do need to see, how did they get there? How did this get to the point where we needed the special counsel? And in that little pot or bucket, as I heard one of the guys call it yesterday, I'm afraid that you've got Hillary and Barack Obama and heavens knows who else.
Right. Yeah. So I think that the Dems are playing right into their hand.
I think you're exactly right. And that leads us, I wonder if Joe Biden's in that bucket.
Creepy Joe.
All handsy and stuff. Creepy Joe, yeah.
Yeah, I think the funniest headline I saw was Pelosi tells Biden, pretend you have a cold.
Yeah, that solves everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, you think...
Had she only said that sooner, we would have no sexual assault.
Yeah.
We would have no pedophilia.
Yeah.
Wow, what a woman.
Yeah, no rapes in the world. She should have said it sooner. Yeah, definitely. That'll work.
I'm going to just say that next time somebody steps into my space. I mean, actually, I find that women do it more than men. I mean, they're just... I'm not cold, but I just don't want to hug everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a little germophobic, and I don't want to hug about everything because then it becomes not special.
Right.
But I don't fall apart if somebody wants to hug,
Exactly.
I've got 2 or 3 friends that, they want to hug about everything. You say 2 or 3 words and they're hugging. And I live with it. It's okay. I do not think that creepy Uncle Joe is a sexual predator. I think he's like a nice grandpa that just invades people's space. Now, what about him is so stupid that he hasn't understood before now that even though he wants to do it, he has good intentions, he can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's ever said anything before.
Take him this long. People have been laughing about it for years on TV. So how could he miss it? That worries me. And he wants to be president of the United States.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't make sense. But, in my opinion, this is Bernie Sanders' group, they said, that are bringing up all these women because I guess Bernie, being of the same age and the same party as Joe, that's his greatest competitor. Despite all this, Joe Biden seems to be polling better than anybody. Now, I think that's name recognition. And I think also there are a certain amount of people out there that really loved Obama.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I don't know why, but that's not my place. They kind of feel like that Biden's an extension of Obama. And I hate to tell them this. If you study Joe Biden's politics, he ain't no Obama. He is a middle-of-the-road Democrat. He is a Bill Clinton Democrat, almost a blue dog.
Right, right.
So you're not going to get that, he is getting kind of old. By the time he would take office, he would be 78 years old.
Oh, my.
Now, if he only ran and only one term, you got to figure he's going to 82.
Right.
2 terms, he's 86. See how well I do this math? But that's a little old, okay? He would be going in to the presidency at the time Ronald Reagan was leaving, and we thought he was ancient.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit of a concern for sure.
Now, even bigger than those concerns about Uncle Joe is the problem with him and Hunter. Now, Hunter Biden is his son.
Right.
Okay, and there's this little Ukrainian deal.
Okay.
Uncle Joe, in front of a crowd of people and cameras with a mic, said that he threatened to take $1 billion payment away from the Ukrainian government.
Oh.
If they did not do business with this company. Okay?
Okay.
Well, they did business, okay? And it's about uranium, okay? Remember Uranium One?
Right.
And the next thing you know, his son gets $1 billion deal.
Okay. That must have been some good commission in that.
Okay. Also, in 2013, Biden and Hunter get on a plane owned by us, that Air Force Two.
Right.
Okay. 10 days later, Hunter Biden gets a $1.5 million deal with the Chinese government's bank. Okay.
Whoa. Now,
if you want to go back in time, and I will put this on Twitter, because I know a lot of you get to us on Twitter. That was a really bad little mistake there. Twitter. Anyway, Peter Schweizer's book, Secret Empires. You can listen to our review of it. It was last March. We talked about this problem with the Bidens. Not only the Bidens getting money, which also kind of meant the Obamas and the Clintons and the Kerrys. This all goes back to Uranium One.
Right.
We talked about it in that book review, Secret Empires by Peter Schweizer.
Right.
Okay. Also, Mitch McConnell's in there.
Oh.
And I happen to think it's time for Mitch McConnell to go home.
Yeah.
And even though it's unplanned, I got something to say about Mitch McConnell. You dumb ass, mean guy. Okay? The president wants to try to take care of healthcare because we're hurting out here. Okay? And I wish Meghan McCain could hear me say this, that's why we're really hurting, is her father's thumbs down.
Right.
Okay? That meant that Trump could not fix it at the point at which he had the Senate and the Congress.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
He decides to reapproach it this past month. Everybody's going, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. We can't be the party of healthcare. Okay, you know what? Somebody needs to be the party of healthcare.
Yeah, someone needs to stand up and do something.
Because people out here like me and pretty much everybody else I know, especially everybody that works for themselves, are hurting.
Right.
And Mitch McConnell said, Mr. President, you can't do that. I won't do that. I won't bring it to the floor. You've got to wait till after the 2020 election. Well, that means we've got to suffer for at least 2 more years. And if they don't get the House, then it's indefinite. Right. Or better yet, we go to Medicare for none. So, Kentucky, could you just send Mitch McConnell back home with you? Because I'm tired of him. Plus, he gets paybacks from his in-laws, according to Peter Schweizer, who nobody sued that I know of. So he's probably right.
Exactly. Okay? Otherwise, he would have been sued.
He gets Chinese shipping payments. And if you look to see how much money he's made since he took office, he only gets about $174,000 a year. He's made a lot more than that per year.
Wow. Okay.
He's made a lot more than you could save or you could make on the stock market.
Wow.
Just saying. Okay, so if it's not the Mueller report, and it's not, cheating, people out of money, it's the border crisis.
Right.
It is a crisis. Even one of Obama's guys, he's gotten on the air this week and he said it is a crisis. Okay, they're bringing diseases across.
Right.
They're bringing drugs across the border. They're bringing homeless people across the border. You got to remember, and I responded yesterday on Twitter to Dianne Feinstein. She goes, "Oh, we've got a terrible homeless crisis," and they do. It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's nasty. Yeah. And California is so bad that they've got homeless people that are working.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
how crazy and how expensive housing is.
Yeah, it is. And they created this problem themselves.
Exactly. So I asked her, I said, so why do you want to bring in more homeless people?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I said fair enough. So let's fix this homeless problem, but let's don't bring any more in until we get this fixed. And maybe once we start bringing them in, maybe they could be legal, because children are dying. And you are a racist if you don't care about Hispanic children dying at the border. They're making these long journeys. These kids are getting sick. They have got all these STDs. They've got measles. They don't have shots. They don't have vaccines. We're screaming and yelling about the vaccines in America. Well, for the most part, the people that brought it in are just that. They brought it in. It wasn't really our lack of vaccines. I know there are pockets of people not getting vaccines, but really, mathematically, they should be okay. I've got one of my sons that can't take them.
Right.
I'm not an anti-vacciner. The doctor was like, don't you dare let him get any. It'll cause him to have seizures. In fact, we don't know that didn't cause it in the first place. Well, I got two other sons that they got other vaccines.
Right.
So my one son that can't should be okay if all the people that can get it. Right. Unless you bring a bunch of people in with the measles already and other things like, we're even they had pictures of one kid that had smallpox.
Right.
You're talking about smallpox, polio, and the measles. We pretty much had eradicated these things.
And here we are again.
But the border crisis is just that. It's a crisis. They are having to release all these people. They're expecting 1 million people this year. And if the people leave Central America that are planning on it, it's going to be worse than that. Now, the president, I just watched a little news conference, is calling out to Mexico to do something.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. He
said, first of all, if you don't do it, we're going to close the border down. And we're going to do that real quick. Secondly, we're going to give you a year to clean these drug guys up and quit letting the drugs pour over our border. If you don't do that, we're going to renege on the tariff agreement that we made to replace NAFTA, and we're going to tariff you.
Whoa. Okay.
And I say, go guy, because we've been trying for many presidents to quit these drugs coming over. I mean, everybody's talking about marijuana. That's a really good reason, and I know I'm going to upset a bunch of my conservative friends. That's a good reason to find some way to legalize it, because when it comes over the border, it's not cool. Okay? Right. It's got stuff mixed in it. It's they say it is so powerful and so poisonous. So a lot of the attitudes we have about marijuana come from that stuff that's not pure.
Well, they say the two biggest cartels in Mexico are the politicians and the police.
I believe that, and they can be bought like crazy. But I do believe with the president, they can clean it up.
They have to. It's ridiculous.
We buy a lot of stuff from them.
Well,
and I'll live without my avocados for a while if I have to.
Can you imagine living there and having to see these mass murders and hangings and skinning alive and all the things that they're doing, the horrible things?
No. I used to travel to Mexico all the time before I had children because I am a lover of Mayan ruins. So every time I got a vacation, I'm there on the ruins, you know.
Yeah.
And for years, it has not been safe for me to go back.
No.
Because of that.
The people that do go there to holiday usually don't even leave the resort now.
Exactly. And I went every place. I would pay guides to take me where tourists don't go.
Right.
You know, and never felt frightened.
Right.
You know? In fact, I had one of them, I used to send him Levi's. Because he was so fascinated with Levi's. I thought, you know, at the time they couldn't get them there.
Right.
But I couldn't do that now without hiring, you know, a security person that was with a gun.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the traveling, one of my sons does, his company, or his former company, they had to hire a lot of security. And it's scary because you hope that the security you're hiring is okay too.
Yeah,
you got to remember, you're dealing with people of a different language, you don't know, so there are lots of variables. It's kind of like these people rushing across the border. We don't know anything about them. Of course, most of them are not violent criminals.
Right.
But, you know, it doesn't take many to do a lot of damage. Okay? If only 1% of them are murderers, that's too much.
That's a big problem. Yeah.
I mean, we've had some murderers that could kill a heck of a lot of people, and in a pretty bad ways. So, people, come on. This is our country. Let's get rid of that border problem and get some people in here that can pay some taxes, you know, Social Security, Medicare, make things better for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And them. If they come in the front door, they're not having to steal Social Security cards or Social Security numbers and because they can't even rent a home.
Yeah, well,
without a social number, so they have to have somebody's.
I keep hearing this, like on social media and stuff, that you know, what's the difference? Everybody immigrated to Canada and the United States. Your ancestors did it, and now you're trying to block these people? Well, no, our ancestors came here. There was nothing. They built Canada, and they built the United States. They weren't coming here saying, give us free health care and welfare. Exactly. So they came here to work the land. Yeah, and I think our stats in Canada even prove that, because the 100,000 Syrian refugees we took in a few years ago, only 24% of the males are working and 8% of the females are working. That's not good stats. That means almost 70% of them you guys are having to support. Exactly. Yeah. And are the 30% that is working, are they really making enough to support themselves and their families? Probably not. So you're probably halfway supporting some of them. Yeah. A lot of them were driving truck, and they're really cutting down on that. Do you remember the hockey team that got killed last year? Yeah. That was a new immigrant that, you know, didn't have the proper training. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Oh yeah, that's why they didn't release his name for 3 or 4 months. Okay, see, I didn't know they ever released it, so wow, that's sad. But there's a whole lot of reasons for immigrants to come through the front door. And we have a terrible homeless problem in many places in the United States, right here where I live. Yeah, let me just get this right. We're not against immigration if it's done properly. Not at all. No, I want it because I want Social Security and Medicare to be strong and more taxes. Exactly. These guys aren't. They're just draining us. And we're not doing right by them. Yeah, exactly. If they come here,
to live, in a tent in LA and, they're pooping on the sidewalks. That's not better than where they're coming from.
Exactly. So, it's got to be done right, or don't do it.
Exactly. Well, basically, we already talked about healthcare and Mitch McConnell, so I'll just say it again. Mitch, President wanted to take care of healthcare because he has bonded with his constituents. Okay? He cares about whether these people out here, like me, are suffering with our healthcare.
Yeah, and very much inclusive of existing conditions.
Now, if you only look at it as a campaign talking point, then you probably don't give a damn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kentucky, take Mitch McConnell home.
All right. I agree there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the president is not always stupid, like they try to make him out to be. Apparently, there were 25 times, and I have a feeling that this number is not unusual, where he overrode the security clearance for different individuals working in the White House. He overrode the CIA,
right,
or Secret Service, and wanted them to work. Now, there were various things that were problems. Some of them had financial problems. They don't like people at the White House that have financial problems because
they're
they
open
could
to bribes.
Yeah, they're open to bribes and blackmail. And then various other things they had done. Connections with foreign governments. But apparently, most of these people he knew. Now, my understanding is, in the 25 people, it wasn't Jared Kushner or Ivanka, even though
everybody thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, so he has that prerogative. When the Secret Service says, we really don't think you should do this, Mr. President, he has the right to override it. So,
well, I'm pretty sure he had a full security staff before he was president. And is he going to fire them all because he's president? No, he's going to want to take those
he's comfortable with.
Yeah, people he trusts. They've been protecting him forever. Why not now?
Well, do you believe that he's the first president to do that?
No way.
No, he's the first president we know about doing that because they are grasping.
Right.
Okay. On a little bit of a sad note here. Brett Kavanaugh, they basically ruined him. Of course, I realize he's still on the Supreme Court, and that's good. But out in the world where he lives in D.C. and his two little girls and his wife, he has become the outcast of existence.
Oh, great.
So students at universities where he has, done some adjunct professor, given some speeches and such, they wanted him fired. They wanted him gone.
Good luck.
All because a woman that could prove nothing, absolutely nothing, said he touched her boobies.
Yeah, well, too bad. He's in there now.
Yeah.
What you gonna do about it?
That's pretty much what's going on here. What about up there in Canada?
Well, Trudeau tossed Jody, Wilson-Raybould, and Jane Philpott out of the Liberal Party. Get this.
That sounds corrupt.
Do you think? Get this.
Just saying.
He called them unethical for recording the phone call which proved he obstructed justice in the LavScam criminal case. So, yeah. So quickly, the deflection happens and it's their fault again. So I did watch CPAC, which is the live video of our parliament in session. And it's just ridiculous. It's like a bunch of toddlers screaming at each other. They are looking at whether it's actually legal to toss members out of the party and the procedures around that. I hope it's
not. I really hope it's not.
Well, I think there's a carved out procedure for it. and they didn't follow procedure. So that's the issue.
Yeah, that'll work.
So I believe the Speaker of the House and his staff are investigating the laws around it, but he's basically just sided with Trudeau on everything anyways, because he's a Trudeau assignment, his position. So nothing, I don't expect anything to be happening there. As far as this is really good. So yesterday, Trudeau was addressing 338 young women who are taking part of something called the Daughters of the Vote, which is basically a program to help promote politics as a career to young women. So yeah, the leaders of the parties, spoke to the young ladies, and Trudeau spoke last. And when he did, about 40 to 50 of them, I think 48 I saw in one title, 48 of the young would-be MPs didn't want to hear it, stood up and turned their backs on the Prime Minister when he spoke. So
wow. They already know how to work politics.
I do have hope in those women. So, yeah, we got to agree with that.
Yep, but we don't always agree, but life's a journey, and we're all in this together. Thanks for listening. Godspeed, Connor. Godspeed to all of our friends out there.
Godspeed, Grace, and thanks for listening.